Federal, state and local government councils receive 1.088 trillion naira in federation allocation for November 2023. Africans to boost beans production through the Pan-African Beans Research Alliance, PABRA. Shipping stocks rise in Europe after Red Sea attacks as other stocks begin the week slowly. Plus, oil prices rise by about 1% Monday. The program is Business Express, reaching you from Abuja, Nigeria's capital. I am Musa Abubakar, your guide. Now let's bring you up to speed with business development. The Federation Account Allocation Committee, FAC, has shared the sum of 1.088 trillion naira to the 3 tiers of government as federation allocation for the month of November. The amount was derived from a gross total of 1.62 trillion naira. The breakdown of the allocation shows that the federal government received 402.867 billion naira. The states received 351.697 billion naira, and the local government councils received 258.810 billion naira. And the oil producing states received 75.410 billion naira as derivation. The communique issued by FAC at the end of its meeting revealed that the gross revenue available from the value-added tax increased to 360.455 billion naira in November from previous month, with 10.381 billion naira given for transfers, intervention and refunds, as well as 14.418 billion naira allocated for cost of collection. The gross statutory revenue received for the month was 882.561 billion naira, with various taxes such as company income tax, excise duty, petroleum profit tax, and value-added tax increasing. The Minister of Finance, Wale Edun, who chaired the meeting, expressed his commitment to achieving economic growth while commending the FAC members for their support and cooperation. Now, in a bid to support the realization of $1 trillion GDP, the Chartered Institute of Brokers is poised to assist in the federal government in raising capital through the equities market for its development objectives. This is believed will help reduce dependence on external borrowings, as the new executives of the Abuja and Northern Zone chapter of the body were formally presented.
Funds that have been saved from all of these subsidies are being channeled into other productive areas. So we see the market demonstrate its confidence in the government, in what the government has done with those policies. We see the market, an administration that has done a lot to promote a conducive atmosphere, a conducive environment for business to thrive and to grow. And when business see the opportunity to grow and thrive, it will move into that country.
We are here in this capital market, to grow the economy through either bonds, equity, through commercial paper. Like you can see that all the banks now, they want to raise capital. Through who? It's through the stockbrokers. We are registered agents to make sure that all these banks, they grow and grow bigger.
As the year gradually winds down today on the program, we will be discussing federal government's intervention for micro, small and medium enterprises in 2023 and plans for the new year. Our guest is Tola Johnson, who is the Senior Special Assistant to the President on MSMEs and Job Creation. We will take a short break before the discussion. Stay with us. And to our discussion segment, the role of small and medium scale enterprises in creating and sustaining national development in relating to job creation has been considered a key tool in modern day poverty alleviation, economic emancipation, and total well-being. This is because they engender the usage of local raw materials, create jobs, promote firms, intermediate interaction for gross domestic product growth, and require little or no formal education for their day-to-day operations. Joining us to discuss the MSME space funding and job creation is Tola Johnson. You're welcome to Business Express.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Well, Mr. Johnson, well, let's begin by you giving us an assessment of MSMEs, how they fared this particular year. I understand that you were with the last administration. You are still with this new administration. Just give us a picture.
Like any other part of the world, MSMEs in the country, for the past 1 year, I've had it a bit tough. Oh, and it's not peculiar to Nigeria. I mean, since the unfortunate incident with COVID, no country truly has returned to its normalcy in terms of businesses with the SME spaces. So it's been tough, as it has been all over the world. But there have been areas of hope. There have been areas of hope, areas where I've given the small, micro, and medium enterprise owners a reason to believe, that things will get better. It's been tough, and but things are easing, things are easing, and things will be better. There's that's the way it is right now.
Okay, before we have this discussion about what it's like, or what it should be like, or what the renewed hope agenda has for the MSMEs with the present operating environment, because just this morning, or was it last night, I heard that ShopRite will be closing its one of its branches in or its branch the ShopRite branch in Kano in January. I don't know. How does this affect small, medium-scale businesses with the cost of living? And you've seen the inflation rate. It's more than 28%. And also, when you look at the exchange rate unification, as well as the removal of fuel subsidy, how tough is the environment for MSMEs?
Like I said, it's tough. I mean, no one would deny that it's not tough. It's tough not just for the SMEs themselves. It's tough in every ramification. It is tough. But when you're at a situation like this, when it gets tough, your resolution in the belief that it can be better are what either keeps you, that it's what either mars your business or sustains that business. What we have done is moved very quickly. Issue of interest rates for loans for SMEs. Working with the commercial banks, we've gone into a partnership with them, especially with Access Bank. The average loan for MSMEs is about 26 to 28%. We've been able to get a partnership with Access Bank that guarantees a 15% flat rate interest loan for MSMEs. And we've been able to get them to reduce or relax a bit of their collateral for small businesses that are collecting less than 3 million. So, in a few days, the announcements will be made and people will know how they will collect these funds. Where you can walk into any of the Access Bank branches anywhere in the country. And if you're looking to collect between 200 and 3 million, the sort of collateral that you'll be required to provide in the past are not the sort of collateral you'll be required to provide now. Those details have been tidied up and it will go public. We've also, next week, we will also be making a very major announcement. Mr. President has said that he was very concerned. He wanted MSMEs to have access to single-digit loans, and this has been made possible. We've been able to secure a partnership that will be announced sometime next week. The Vice President's office has gotten a partnership that will ensure that we have an alternative. If you cannot access the 50 billion naira Access Bank MSME loan, then you might be able to access the other loan that is going to be coming at a single digit of 9%. The Access Bank one is 15%. So if you're in a quagmire where you are not sure of who to go to, we want you to have the options, and we are calling on more banks, more commercial institutions to come in on board and make access to funding easy for MSMEs. Because the truth is, there is access to funding, but it is at what rate, it is at what tenure. Nobody. How many businesses are able to thrive on 28%? I mean, so basically speaking, you're saying to them that those businesses are going to shut down before they even start. So we want to ensure the government's policies to ensure that there's now a sustainable single-digit loan available to SMEs. So it's one thing to start it, and it's another thing to ensure that it is sustainable and it becomes a norm. So aside from the interest rates, we're also concerned about the tenor. You don't, even if you are being given a loan at 9%, even if it's at 1%, and you are being asked to pay that money back in 3 months, it's almost impossible. And let's say, so we are concerned about the tenor, whereas we want to ensure that we give them the right moratorium. So that's a grace period. Once you collect this funding, you have this grace period where you can take a breather before you start paying these funds back. So we want to ensure that we want to plant this as a norm in the country. Ensure that not just the federal government financial institutions, commercial banks. We want to ensure that commercial banks are in sync with the federal government. We with regards to the micro, small, and medium enterprise area, we want to ensure that this is done, because the private sector cannot go it alone. It is the job of the public sector to ensure that there's the enabling environment to sustain this. Also,
okay, Mr. Johnson, from what you have said, we've started the discussion on the renewed hope direction towards MSMEs. But the thing here is, with this increase in inflation, because last month inflation figure shows that it's somehow decelerating, but this month shows that there's somehow an increase. So I'm looking at a possibility that the central bank will likely tighten its monetary stand. And if that happens, that means the cost of borrowing becomes more expensive. So beside access to capital, what other what other, what will I say, form of palliative, or what other help are you giving to MSMEs?
A few other areas where we're trying to ensure that we quickly move in to help MSMEs. One is infrastructure. One is creating. We are currently speaking with partners on trying to create shared workspaces for SMEs. What this will do is that we want to, in some parts of the country, have structures where small business owners, MSMEs who are serious with their businesses will be able to access, go and run their businesses, and pay a token to run their businesses from such structures. So we want to ensure that we create as many as possible. We are speaking with partners to ensure that this is done. So in terms of infrastructure, so that reduces, for instance, if you are supposed to go and pay a rent of 250,000 naira in a year, you can be assured that whatever it is that you are going to be paying for this, our partnership is going to be way cheaper and easily accessible. We're training small business owners because sometimes owners of these businesses are not even aware of the simplest rudiments of business. For instance, some people make they make 10,000 naira a day. And they think that 10,000 naira is their profit. So sometimes businesses fail as a result of those running the business as well. So it is also key. Why people might say that we hear of training, but training is key. We need to ensure that you understand the rudiments of doing this business you're doing. If you have invested 10,000 naira in a business and you have made 10,000 naira back, 10,000 naira is not your profit. You're just recouping what you have put into your business. And we want to ensure that MSMEs, using the national MSMEs clinics, now expanded. What we're not doing is that the national MSME clinics, which kicks off in January with Borno and Benue states, you are now going to be having state-specific clinics. Whatever sort of comparative advantage that state is known for, that's what will be exhibited in that state. Then we're going to be inviting a lot of investors within that space to come in, and some of them will be willing to invest on the spot in those businesses, because for instance, you are exhibiting something extraordinary. Somebody might see it and they said that, listen, is it possible to take a stake in your business, for a certain amount? And we are also going to be unholding these businesses to ensure that NEPC, that's the Nigerian Export Promotion Council, and holds them from Nigeria and connects them with those that will be responsible for that will offtake whatever it is that they are exporting. We're speaking to the likes of Nexim as well. We're also trying to ensure that in terms of business registration, that you can sit at the comfort of your home and register your business. This has improved significantly because we carried out some dummy trials just to see how quickly it was or it is now to register your business. And we've seen that within 48 hours, you're able to register your business and your certificate is generated immediately. We're trying to ensure that businesses do not have to wait for a long time, longer than they should, to get their NAFDAC numbers. Whatever it is that any federal government agency can do today to support a business, do not wait till tomorrow to support that business. And talking about technology, we are closely working with the Ministry of Digital Economy to let SMEs know the essence of digitalization. It's easier for you if you can digitalize aspects of your business. It makes it more seamless. It means that you're in touch with the rest of the world. So we're trying to do this and ensure that it does not cost too much to the pocket of the SME. So the Minister of Digital Economy, he's already started his GMT training, where he's training a lot of small micro enterprises in the technology sector and those in the non-technology sector. So there are quite a number of things that we're trying to ensure that we do very quickly.
Okay, I'm afraid we're out of time, but I have to ask you this question for people out there who want to maybe start a business or, be one among the SMEs that we have. What good news would you give that person out there regarding SMEs this year?
The good news is that the president has promised a single-digit interest rate for SMEs. We have that in the back. And the thing is to ensure that it is sustainable across board. So I can bet you that from January next year, you are going to be able to access funding at single-digit interest rates and at very good tenure for MSMEs in Nigeria.
Okay, thank you, Tola Johnson. It's been a pleasure having you on the program. Now, the French Development Agency is committing 550 million euros for the development of agriculture in Nigeria. Musa Ali reports that the fund will be disbursed through the International Fund for Agricultural Development, IFAD.
The Fund for Agricultural Development, IFAD, and the French Development Agency are jointly funding an agricultural development project in northern Nigeria. The Value Chain Initiative is designed to improve agricultural activities, eradicate hunger and malnutrition in the region.
8 states have been targeted, and it's the 8-year program, hoping for about $114 million. Both the French Development Agency, the International Fund for Agricultural Development, as well as the counterpart funding from the states, the federal government, as well as the beneficiaries.
Here are key players putting a final touch into the implementation document for the takeoff of the project.
I therefore challenge all participants to ensure active participation and contribute your comments to ensure that the design is fully aligned with the wishes and aspirations of our people.
As we go forward, we will strengthen the collaboration with women organizations to ensure that their voice is fully heard and their interest taken properly into account in the program.
The country representative of the French Development Agency said more funding is expected from the French government.
So far, we plan 50 million in our budget, but it could be more depending on the number of states that will be involved and the number of value chains that will be targeted.
The project is expected to cover selected states in northeast and northwest zones.
African farmers have been advised to embrace the planting of climate-resilient and disease-resistant beans variety to increase their yield for security. The Pan-African Beans Research Alliance, PABRA, at an event to unveil such varieties in Kenya, says it plans to sensitize farmers on the need to invest in research to increase production. It also includes creating a variety of beans which cook for a shorter time. The African Alliance of Biodiversity International also reiterated its commitment to support African farmers to enhance their beans production through minimization of risk for farmers to make profit.
There is a governance mechanism within PABRA, and where distribution of resources and how the investment of resources is done. Tremendous progress in terms of bean production, productivity, and getting that to the household. I think we could be doing way much more in the West Africa region.
Because Nigeria is importing closer to, I think, more than 100 million of either canned beans or pre-cooked beans or raw beans. So rather than importing, we think that there's a possibility to develop a local value chain, supporting the local community to grow beans, which the industry will be looking for, and that's where we are. So we have the technology, we have the varieties, we have the interest of the farmer.
Local variety for the...
It's time to see the figures in the global market. Bossade is standing by. Bossade, what's up? What's happening in the market?
So the global market. Global markets were particularly maintained by the U.S. Federal Reserve penciling in 3 cuts to interest rates over the course of 2024. European markets were muted on Monday to start the penultimate week of 2023. FTSE rose 0.29% and 0.38% for CAC and DAX. Asia markets were mostly lower Monday at the start of the penultimate week of 2023, while South Korea shares bucked the trend as defense stocks led gains. Most Asian markets rallied last week following the U.S. Federal Reserve's decision to hold rates and its roadmap for rate cuts in 2024 and 2025. Nikkei dipped 0.64% at 32,758.98. The Shanghai Composite followed suit at 0.40% at 2,930.80. And the Hang Seng Index was not held back at 0.97% across 16,629.23. U.S. stock futures were slightly higher Monday after the three major averages notched their seventh straight week of gains. Futures tied to the Dow Jones Industrial Average added 75 points, S&P 500 0.22%, and the Nasdaq Composite at 0.08%. Now, it wasn't the first trading day of the week, wasn't so a pleasant one for most African stocks as the BA dominated. That's the global market review for the first trading day in the week. I am Bossade Abel.
Well, that's all good for African markets. But this is where we end this edition of Business Express. We value your feedback, so keep the comments, observations, and suggestions coming. Be informed that all previous episodes are available on YouTube on the NTA's channel. Business Express returns Tuesday at 9:30 a.m. Thanks for watching.